All right, welcome back to Take a Stand, and we have not opened the phone lines up yet. I'll do my own best job of getting in trouble again before we do that, and before we give you a chance to get me in trouble. All right, so Wednesday's show was what it was. I spent 5 minutes at the start of the show expressing a genuine concern for the mental health of Glenn Beck. All right, no matter what I tried to bring up the rest of the show, no matter how many important issues impacting the lives of people in our region, every single call kept going back to Glenn Beck. Every single email flooding the email box, not only for me, but for Agnes, Miss Agnes, our producer, and for management, was all about Glenn Beck. The front office reception area was flooded with phone calls about Glenn Beck, no matter what I tried to bring up on Wednesday's show. So Thursday morning, having seen yet another wave, 12-hour wave of building momentum of shock that a host on a station with Glenn Beck would actually express 5 minutes of comment of concern about a national host and his mental health, that over the next 12 hours after I get off the air, it only picked up more momentum. And so, you know, people, oh, he ought to be fired, and even beyond that. It really, I noticed that the station put up some very interesting, an interesting selection of emails in the mailbag on takeastandshow.com, and I encourage you to check that out because, wow. Anyway, so Thursday morning rolls around, I check the inbox, I'm looking around, and oh my goodness, it's just, my email box is ready to shut down because there's just overwhelming amounts of email coming in, just ripping and absolutely beside themselves with anger and resentment and just embarrassment that I would actually take 5 minutes to voice concern about a fellow human being. And so I called my boss here at the station, and again, I opened up Wednesday's show with saying, you ever have one of those days you just want to call in sick? Well, I realized Thursday was one of those days. Instead of just saying it, I should call in sick on Thursday. But I called in and he said, well, you're not sick, you can't do that and everything. I said, all right, fine. You've seen the same kind of just absolutely vehement feeding frenzy piranha nonsense that's going on with things, and I suspended myself. There's your big news story right there, ladies and gentlemen. I suspended myself yesterday to try and calm this nonsense down so that we can actually get to some discussion. And as always been the case, management here at the station and with Clear Channel has always let me do exactly what I want to do, have never censored me from what I can or can't talk about. And I said, I want this to be a public suspension of me so that people that are so preoccupied, again, no matter what we brought up, everything for an entire day based on a 5-minute comment went back to this. So I suspended myself to try and let people feel like they're listened to, I'm listening to you. Station management would never suspend me over something like what I said on Wednesday's show. But I suspended myself. And then I put a comment on my Facebook page. And I said, I'm not going to be in. Station management's going to be putting out a statement, and Sean Hannity will be on instead. And then, you know, that's it. Well, since then, the Asheville Citizen-Times ran a front-page lead story. On the front page, top story, on the front page of the Citizen-Times is local radio host pulled off the air. Based on what? A Facebook post. And something that the writer of the story even acknowledged within their own story. They never talked to me, and they didn't. They never talked to me, and they never actually heard the comments that were supposedly so controversial. So let me tell you what's happened today. Today, we've seen national media take an interest in this. Ed Schultz called my program director wanting to get me on the air to talk about this. NBC out of New York wants to do a story on this. National media outlets are on this. Talkers Magazine, which is the leading industry publication for our industry, for talk radio, had it on their daily email blast about this situation. And where did it all explode? It all exploded with a daily paper running a front page story based on a Facebook post without knowing the full details. So last night, the writer of the story sent me a message on Facebook, basically wanting some comment. And I said, I don't see how this is a story. I said, it must be a really slow news day. They ran the story anyway. So now today, with national media wanting to pay attention to this, again, based on the unbelievable backlash of things coming through, people's vile veracity of disgust with my 5-minute comments 2 days ago of concern for Glenn Beck, that I suspended myself yesterday. Now here's the other thing. When I suspended myself and management said that they would be in support of doing that to try and make peace and move on to other issues that are more important, I also made a prediction. And this is where people are probably going to get upset. I made a prediction that people that are Sand Hill Elementary School will appreciate. You know, the whole Obama chant? People at Enka Middle School will appreciate. Remember the whole loser on the paper? I said, you watch and see what the media does with this. And lo and behold, not even 24 hours, and it's national media attention. And I'm hearing people on the partisan Democrat side and the partisan Republican side trying to take this and use it as a billy club for their own political agendas. How pathetic is that? So now we have the Citizen Times threatening to sue us, threatening to sue me. For what? What are they going to sue me for? Was I suspended yesterday? Yes, I suspended myself. Are they going to sue me for the fact that they ran a front page story based on a Facebook post without ever actually listening to the comments that supposedly were so controversial? And they were controversial. The reason I suspended myself was because I thought, okay, here, we're listening. Management will never punish me for what I say on the radio, so I will. We'll get past this, and as a community, we can start talking about the things that are important. But lo and behold, the prediction on the other side has come true. It's now a national media circus. So what do we take from it? What do we learn from it? What I learned from it is that my concerns about my neighbors were absolutely valid. That the concerns I expressed on Wednesday, I stand by, and that the suspension, while self-inflicted, I thought would be a good way to not only have people feel validated, because I do listen to their feedback, and I understand a lot of people were upset, and they should have their voices heard. But I also saw that this was a situation that I was pretty confident that media would take it and run with it, because it's just too salacious. It's just too controversial. And oh my goodness, here's an opportunity for us to rip not only a local top-rated talk show host, but a national voice on talk radio. And guess what they did? Exactly what I thought they would. So are there apologies in order? I'll let you be the judge of that. Is there going to be a retraction of anything? Absolutely not. Will I end up getting a suspension that's not handed down from me but from someone in corporate? We'll find out. Even Premier Radio Networks was calling about this. The syndicators of these national show hosts. But what does that say about us as a country? What does it say about us as a people? That something, a 5-minute commentary of concern about someone else on a small town radio show, and then the enormous backlash and resentment and anger and calling for justice and everything else, I decided to suspend myself to validate the concerns, and realizing I had upset a lot of people. And then to have it explode to what it is. I mean, did you hear Ed Schultz's show today, by the way? It was almost entirely about Glenn Beck, saying he's nuts, he's a kook. I've never said that. I said I'm concerned, especially based on his history, I'm concerned that this man's burning out on both ends of the wick. And that was the point of my commentary on Wednesday. So now we have something much bigger, something much more grandiose, and something, quite frankly, much more pathetic on display in front of us. But the difference is that this time, instead of being elementary school children at Sand Hill Elementary, or being a middle school teacher or a parent of a middle school student, this time it's happening with a talk show host who can handle himself in the media, who is not going to back off or be confused about who he is or what he believes or what he's going to say as he moves forward. So now we'll open the phone lines. Now we'll go ahead and give you the opportunity to jump in here with your comments. And if I get shredded for it, so be it. I stand by what I said, I stand by what I did yesterday, and I stand by where I am today.